Hey friends, Iron Banner is back, and in today's video I'm going to go over some recommended roles for each of the featured weapons and what I look for in order of most importance, starting with the Reese Walker shotgun. This is a lightweight frame, so it inherently has a tighter pellet spread than something like an aggressive, yet it's held back by its pellet damage, kind of a similar kill. Edge goes to the aggressive, but the advantage is you get the lightweight frame. You get an invisible 20 mobility, 2 tiers, as well as a slightly faster sprint speed. So, this is a really good shotgun. But the problem is, the Wastelander shotgun exists, and it's craftable. So the only reason that you want a Reese Walker is because of this right here called Skulking Wolf. And this is pretty much going to be a trend among all the Iron Banner weapons. The only reason you really want to use them is because of the Skulking Wolf origin trait. While at low health, Guardian Final Blows with this weapon grant enhanced radar and remove you from the opposing radar, and it lasts 10 seconds. So the best way you can think about it is if you are critical after a gunfight and you win your gunfight, you are invisible. That is incredible and worth looking into. So the recommended role I advise on the Reese Walker is to just throw everything into range. It gets up to 95. For Wastelander to have an equivalent, you pretty much also have to go into all range, but the thing is, you can keep crafting this to fit the exact amount of handling you need for a build, as well as the origin trait lets you swap to it faster anyways, so handling isn't even that important. Always remember that in-game, you have the quick charge mod. Should be somewhere around here. And then there's also like Ophidian Aspects, Dragon Shadow, whatever. Quick charge gives you a plus 25 to the handling of shotguns. So you do have to consider that. So if you want to min-max it, you maybe go for something like Corkscrew, then you can use Quick Charge to get you to over 100. And you're still at 90 range, which is more than enough on a shotgun to be effective. But let's just say you want to go all in. Do not go smoothbore, but if you maybe have one with smoothbore, you could keep it for the future shotgun changes. Maybe it will be a difference maker. That being said, let's talk about the remaining perks. I think Quick Draw is a no-brainer because you can get to the shotgun faster, but you cannot stow the shotgun faster, which means you can't like shotgun and switch to a hand cannon. That's not typically what all players do. If you do go from shotgun to hand cannon, then you want surplus, and you want to be able to keep 2 abilities backpacked. If you're playing something like Remnant Hunter, it's really easy to have abilities backpacked because like the double shuriken counts as 2. If you're a controller player, hipfire grip is absolutely worth mentioning. I've been playing a lot of controller lately, and it is noticeable. Typically, controller players have a different aim down sights sensitivity, so you're hip firing fast-moving targets more often than not, and this helps. You might say that Firmly Planted is a go-to. I'm going to disagree with this one because of just simply having faster handling, doing nothing you would do differently. Even slideways still is an activation. You still have to slide to get your reload and handling, so I wouldn't base having 100 handling off having to slide, even if you slide a lot. I think the real winners here are these 3. Hipfire for controller, Quick Draw if you can't make surplus work, and surplus if you can. Yes, there is steady hands, but oftentimes I'm using a high handling weapon anyway, so getting faster swap speed isn't doing anything for me. On the right-hand column, Iron Reach is the go-to, Demolitionist for grenade special builds, and then maybe Harmony for something like Rain of Fire Boots, where you get Radiant off a fusion rifle like Vex Mythoclast, and then switch to a juiced shotgun. My problem with Swashbuckler is, although it does come up sometimes, typically if I shotgun melee somebody, there's not another person around to where I have my shotgun out with a damage boost that it becomes useful. I would rather just have the initial kill become that much easier so I can maybe proc Skulking Wolf. Because if I'm melee killing, I'm not necessarily proccing the perk. So ultimately, if you don't see yourself taking advantage of Skulking Wolf, just craft a Wastelander. Okay, moving on. The second most important weapon, since we are in a sidearm meta, is of course the Allied Demand. Unfortunately, the P-spawn sidearm is not obtainable, so this is the next best thing. I'm going to say don't overcomplicate it. Crank the range, go for rangefinder, and a damage booster. However, in specific builds that I cannot get AE in, I think Air Assault is maybe the perk to go for. And then you could go extended mag or steady rounds. Look at the difference here in range, 0.2. Of course, range also equals accuracy. But the point is, that is a noticeable AE bonus, and yet barely any damage fall off. So I do think there's a world where you make an AE version of this. And if I go Gemini Jester, I could keep Frenzy up all the time. So what this will allow me to do is use something like Khepri Sting or Gear Falcon and also hit yellow numbers in the air when I add something like an Icarus Grip into the mix. Don't go Gut Shot. Maybe if you use like Fighting Lion with it, Gut Shot is fine. I don't find that the aim assist loss in here is worth being able to 4-body kill somebody. If it works for you, that's great. I'm just finding it's not working for me. I want the sidearm to magnetize to the head at a distance, and I cannot guarantee that with Gut Shot. Even though my aim might be good, it might just not give me the headshot, which is my problem with it. Past that, Iron Reach is tempting, but remember stability is anti-flinch. You really could go into all range, and that's not a wrong answer, but you will find that multi-kill clip giving that slight damage bonus lets you be that much more loose with your aim for the second kill, which is often more important than the first. And then with Skulking Wolf, you can also delay the reload so that you're using it in an advantageous position off of the map. Off of the radar, I mean. Okay, moving on to the next. Forge's Pledge. You are using this for Skulking Wolf, otherwise you have the Battler or Last Perdition or another better pulse rifle. This is maybe my favorite weapon out of the bunch. The one thing I'm going to mention is although they fixed the sights still aren't perfect. They're still very jarring to move around with, but it's the only pulse that gives you Skulking Wolf. So an adaptive frame can almost 2-burst, but with Rampage, it does. If you have a Radiant build like Radiant Frosties or a Gear Falcon, this is a very, very, very strong weapon. And in a team of 3 all abusing Skulking Wolf and damage boosters, this could be a best in slot. I personally have one with Snapshot, and this feels kind of like how you would build into a 120 in the past, just make it very snappy, and it does very good. But I ultimately recommend Rampage with Surplus if you can manage Surplus, and if you can't, Tunnel Vision multi-kill clip, which is essentially the same thing. It's just giving you a buffer to reload, come back into the fight from a different angle with Skulking Wolf, and get your 2-burst. In a similar way, if you're building into Radiant, Frontier's Cry makes sense, but since it is a 180 RPM, it gets an inherent plus 25 to the airborne effectiveness. So you can pretty much be hitting yellow numbers without investing much into it at all, which is why I recommend going steady rounds or extended mag. The thing is, I also recommend kill clip, so you don't really want to go extended mag for the slower reload, so you just take your slight range penalty, which at the extreme end is going to be about 2 meters. And I know that's night and day for some people, but you can get back some of that at-range stickiness by going tunnel vision, since it is going to help your accuracy and aim assist. So I think the recommended roll is kill clip, tunnel vision, steady rounds, hammer forge. Or you can go rapid hit with extended mag to make up for it. But as far as what this gun does differently than others, provides Skulking Wolf, which is going to proc a lot since this is a slow time to kill without a damage booster or against a high resil opponent. So you should build into what it specializes in and not try to turn it into something it's not. Use this for builds that you cannot get high AE on. You can even build into this on Stompies and start seeing yellow numbers. It takes a lot of kills to do so, but it is possible. Next up is the Hero's Burden, which falls short because of its frame. Adaptive frames are inferior to lightweights, so this is, again, I'm not trying to turn this into a lightweight. I'm trying to make this do things that lightweights cannot. And the specialization here is when you don't have something with high AE like Peacekeepers. You want to be able to jump into the air, hit all yellow numbers, and not even worry about sometimes hitting a body shot. And then because you are getting a slower time to kill, Skulking Wolf might pop up more often, which means you can sit back, delay your kill clip reload, and show up at a more advantageous position. So this is my recommended roll. Build all into range, go extended mag since steady rounds does not exist. If you do get ricochet rounds, you might as well just keep it, but I do think extended mag is the move. And air assault. Yes, there is repulsor brace. I feel like that's a little too extra to take advantage of in PvP unless you have a full void team. I think kill clip is the move. I have a lot of footage of this on my channel, and I think I have even one video that I haven't uploaded of just a very, very monster gameplay with this. So trust, it is a good weapon, but you have to build into its specialization. Even something like Foe Tracer can come up at a distance if you want to get that extra damage. All adaptive frame really means is that you lose a duel, but if you happen to miss, you might win the duel if they also happen to miss. So at the very, very tippy top of the skill bracket, not a good frame. But it does allow you to do something others don't. So definitely keep it in the back of your vault. It might get buffed, and I do enjoy this. This is a usable rocket for PvP. Honestly, I don't even know if Skulking Wolf's going to proc on a rocket. So if you're going to build this for PvP, cluster, chain reaction, maybe incandescent, you can keep it. There's better PvE rockets for sure. And then I don't even know what to recommend on the sword. I think you can skip this entirely and you will be fine. As far as what to do in Iron Banner, collect an Iron Banner set, wear an Iron Banner emblem to get a reputation bonus. So per match, per win, you get more reputation, which means more engrams, which means more focusing. Now, let's talk about RNG. The likelihood of you getting exactly what you want is so low. I have genuinely went through 15,000 legendary shards in a weekend just rolling pulse rifles. And I didn't even really intend to use the pulse rifle that much. I just wanted to see if it was good. I wanted to get a good enough roll to give it a fair shake to report to you guys if it's good. I can't confirm it's good, but it's not worth 15,000 legendary shards good. So don't make the same mistake as me and go broke focusing. The RNG really is that bad. Even if you get a 3 out of 5 with the main 2 perks that you want, just take it and stop focusing from there. Rely on random drops. The armor that you get is still very good. Oh, I didn't mention the fusion rifle. Okay, fusion rifle. Midas Reckoning is in the raid, similar frame, but this has Skulking Wolf. So I think I am building into Iron Grip for stability, Under Pressure for stability, Projection Fuse for range, Range Masterwork for range, and Arrowhead to keep the recoil direction up and down, which will turn this into an absolute stat monster and a consistency weapon. I think I'm going to use this with Lumina to make it even more consistent at a distance, where it's still going to hit all the bolts because of Under Pressure Iron Grip, but now have the damage model to be able to lethal kill them from that distance. Since it's a slow charge time, Skulking Wolf is proccing more often. So perhaps this is maybe one of the few fusion rifles I will actually use, especially on controller. I think Legolaflash recommends going into like the successful warm-up type beat, and I also back that. For double kills, it's untouched, one of the best perks, so that's worth mentioning. I did mess around with Iron Gaze, but I feel the range loss is not worth it. So, viewer discretion on this one. It's hard to go right with this fusion because it has so many awkward perk selections. But if you do happen to see Under Pressure with either successful warm-up or Iron Grip, I think you just keep it. Even if all the rest of the stuff is bad. Try it out, see if you like it. Okay, so I talked about reputation earning. I talked about not going broke with RNG. If you're a free-to-play account, this is your armor farm. So now let's talk about the builds. Each day, it's going to recommend you play an Arc or a Stasis class. So on Warlock, I recommend going Osiomancy with Cold Snaps and Chaining Cold Snaps. Chaining Grenades or whatever it's called, Ice Flare Bolts. I know it's Cold Snaps already chained, but you know what I mean, the double chain. So the Osiomancy setup lets you get multi-kills with your super very easily, and your super can also be used from safety. You can, in the third person, put your right hand out of cover, but be perfectly safe. So you can freeze them while you're still perfectly safe, and you can detonate them behind cover. I go the turret route, and turrets are also fine with Osiomancy. The only reason I'm going Ophidian is because I'm going a Scout Rifle, so I can kill from across the whole map. That is my recommended build for Stasis. For Arc Warlock, I don't even know what to recommend. Maybe Dead Messenger Slide, maybe Thorn Necrotic Grip type thing. I don't know. You be creative on that. On Titan, I recommend Teraba with Peacekeepers. On Hunter, I don't really have any recommendations. Maybe Raiju's Harness. On Stasis, I like Gemini Jester because it gives you assist. If a teammate happens to kill a radar-less target, you will get an assist and it helps your streak. If you're going to ditch Stasis and Arc, Golden Gun Hunter is the move. Golden Gun is so powerful. Even if they pre-aim you through the wall, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to hit their shot before you peeker advantage them, you know? So you will delete them. If Warlock gets to use its whole kit, I still think I go back to Stasis. Stasis is so consistent for holding down streaks and staying alive. On Titan, I also don't think I switch off of Missile, because Missile physically puts you in a location to continue your streak after getting the kill to extend it. So, yeah, I think you just stick to Arc on Titan anyway. Past that, I hope something in this video was useful, and good luck hunting these weapon rolls.